Ladies and gentlemen, the following podcast is scheduled for one fall. Introducing your hosts, Kids at Heart.
Yo, it's another episode of Wrestle, baby. I am Christy Blackheartney Lopez, and joining me is the Gobbledygooker, aka my boy Nick Molbach, and we are the Kids at Heart. Nick, man, what's going on? After last week's show, we hit the clean clique, as we call it here. Who Are They? A trip for 2.5 hours. But now we're back at it, just the two of us. Right here rocking, man.
You know, if we were rocking just the two of us, I would be mini-me in that situation. I don't know if you're familiar with
Robin, but we're both Batman.
There you go. I was thinking about Austin Powers there for a second. You know, a famous place where has there been wrestlers in Austin Powers? They did the whole fat bastard as a sumo wrestler thing. Anyways, sorry. It feels like it's we did last week. It's been, I don't know. It feels like it's been like 2 or 3 weeks since we recorded this, but I think that it's because, and I'll give this a 5-second plug. There's been so much more content going on this channel other than us. Let's leave it at that. Not to say that it's bad or anything, but hey, this is our moment. This is our show. You know where to go if you want to see more of us. Just right there in the bio. But yeah, man. Big wrestling week. Shorter show today because of our eventual high spot, which we'll get into later. A short one, but yeah. Without further ado, how are you doing? I guess I should ask that.
Oh no, you're good. It's been the most stressful week, Nick.
Oof.
And this is why I love doing Wrestle Real so much is because it's just time where we just sit back, relax, we talk about some wrestling. Like for the other shows that we do, I gotta do some type of preparation, or I gotta be upset, I gotta be mad. Granted, I do prep for the show, but it's watching wrestling.
Yeah,
like that's the best thing ever. Like this week, I got to watch NXT Halloween Havoc, watched Hell in a Cell. I don't watch wrestling pay-per-views, at least before the show started. I didn't. Now I am. Now I'm back into it, bro.
Oh, for sure. You got to be.
And I've never been so invested in wrestling, or at least in WWE wrestling, because that's just what the pandemic's doing right now. We only have so many options.
Right.
But, quick little story before we get to our first count.
Yeah.
So as of this recording, I took my mom to the airport because my mom was staying with me. For those who watched Real Talk this past Sunday, you heard me conversing with her about coming to America, I think it was. And I was taken to the airport in Oklahoma City. I'm driving on the expressway. Quick context, Oklahoma City and Oklahoma had a huge ice storm. I don't know if it's snowing by you or not.
Not yet. I'm sure
we got a huge ice storm. Huge. Like I'm talking like big parts of the state got covered in ice, right? And that included Oklahoma City. But the day I took my mom back to the airport, ice was melting off of light poles and just off of anything, right? Ice, You can see ice falling. So I'm driving the expressway, and I'm talking to my mom. I'm like, "Hey, mom, look at my braces. Like my teeth are starting to get straightened." And she's like, "What?" And I'm showing her my teeth. I'm driving, and I see ice, the corner of my eye, like ice fall from the power lines, right?
No.
And from the corner of my eye, I'm like, and I say out loud, "Hey, that ice is falling." And then dunk dunk on the top of my car, 2 big ass pieces of ice hit my car. My windshield immediately like there's cracks all over my windshield immediately. There's glass all over me, right? And like all over and I'm still driving. I'm still going like 60 miles an hour on the expressway. I'm like, and my mom's like, "Oh my god!" And I'm driving like, "Oh my god!" Like, what the hell just happened? Hold on, I might have a picture, but it was insane. I'm fine. My mom's fine.
Everybody's safe. Okay.
Everyone's like, no one got hurt. The only thing that was hurt was my ego and my bank account. I'll say that. And,
yeah.
If I can show you guys this quick little picture, if it comes up. That is my windshield.
Gosh.
The top left corner of my windshield is destroyed. But I'll be getting it fixed soon. Everything's gonna be okay. Everything's fine. Still took my mom to the airport. She still made her flight. I had to go back to work, and this was all yesterday. As of this recording,
Oh my gosh!
It's all yesterday. And
wow!
it was a whole thing. I was so bummed the whole day. I was just like, "Hello, darkness, my old friend." But now I'm good. It was a rough day. But I ended the day watching Halloween Havoc, which I mean, it was a really good show. But first, we have before we talk about Halloween Havoc, we have some WWE pay-per-view.
Well. First of all, people, he waited until 10:12 to tell me this. No, I'm just kidding. I have a story as well.
Oh, please.
So I was driving to a gig that I've been. So basically, why we're recording this as late as we are at 10:12 at night, at least for me. I know it's 8 there, right? Something like that. 9. Early riser for the both of us still, but hey, whatever. Is because I've been recording this event. They needed an extra day to film, so I'm on my way going to record this event. Dude, I'm not going to say that my experience was as drastic as yours because I was far enough away from whatever was going on in this. But I got like a work truck in front of me, like one of those red like landscaping type trucks.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, and I'm driving. Man, I have never seen a tire clear come off of a car, just launch right off. And like, I was far enough away to not be like, oh my gosh, is that the tire from the movie Rubber coming straight at my face? but I'm like, oh my gosh, like literally just. I'm like, oh, wow, that thing came unglued.
The stadium's unglued.
I feel like if I was like next to it, my car would have like a tire size dent in it or something like that. It was an odd time on the roads for everybody, man. But like, I am so glad that you're safe. Let's get on to number one and let's go.
The first thing we're going to talk about on the show this week, that isn't tires flying off of cars. Nick, when we're done recording this, ask me about my tire coming off my car story. I have one of those as well.
My God.
But Hell in a Cell happened this past Sunday, and yes, it's almost a week later, but that's the nature of the show. What else are we gonna do?
We're live streaming hopefully soon.
Yes, hopefully we can actually do one of these and talk about the pay-per-view as it happens, but we'll talk about that when we get there. So Hell in a Cell happens, and we're not going to go match by match because there are some duds of matches. Slapjack and Bobby Lashley, Jeff Hardy and Elias. But there are at least some bigger storylines that came out of this pay-per-view.
Well, before we get into it, everybody, I would just like to acknowledge that our boys and girl over at Retribution, they are currently 0-3. We're going to keep account of that just to make sure that everybody knows that Retribution still has yet to win a match in the WWE, as Vladimir Kozlov would say. Go on.
So, and you're correct. As of Hell in a Cell, because on Monday, they lost another match, this time an elimination tag match. So now they're 0-4.
0-4? Oh, okay. Wait. All right. Yeah. 0-4.
Yes, 0-4 because I guess they're not good. But no. Hell in a Cell happens, and I mean, might as well just talk about the main event because at least the main event was something I wasn't expecting the way it happened, and that was Randy Orton becoming a 14-time world champion, beating Drew McIntyre clean.
Well, I'll be honest, people. We were watching that match together, more or less. You know, we were live texting each other throughout the match.
Yeah.
Because right after Real Talk that you can find on this channel, we were kind of just, flipping through, and I was like, you know what? There was something that happened earlier in the night that I would like to acknowledge before we talk about this match, and that is that The Miz won Money in the Bank for a second time, or at least won the contract.
Yeah.
Tucker turns on Otis. We already knew that Heavy Machinery was basically split if they were on different brands, but it still is kind of silly to me that partners can't coexist on different brands with each other. I guess at the end of the day, Otis was never going to keep this briefcase. Miz is one of my favorite wrestlers of all time personally. I got my little Miz toy right here.
Yeah.
So I think that at least me, I turned that match on going. I think Adam Blampier, shout out to Adam Blampier because we could talk about him now.
Yes, we can.
Is that he said, I think it was him who had said, Miz is under the ring. Miz has got to be under the ring, just waiting for his moment.
Mm-hmm.
And when Randy won in a shocking fashion, I was with you. I was just kind of like, oh, Randy Orton won. They're already on Raw doing a Miz and McIntyre feud, or at least what was the beginning of one when they were like interacting with each other. So I was just kind of like, why don't they just go that route if that's the case? That said, there was no way that they were going to build Randy up as much as they did without finally just giving him that championship,
Yeah. The one thing about them giving the belt to Randy, it's not that Randy doesn't deserve it. He's had one hell of a 2020. His 2020 has been incredible. Incredible. Probably one of the best years of his career. I think it's safe to say that. Like, in confidence, I think I can say that. Randy Orton's been killing it.
2008 Randy Orton was pretty damn good.
2008, 2009 Randy was awesome. 2000, even like 2004, 2004, like Evolution Randy was cool too.
But I would agree. Yeah. I mean, you're looking at
this is a Randy Orton we have not seen in a while, and it's a Randy Orton that gives a shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he cares about what he's doing. I think Edge coming back had a huge part of that. So fast forwarding 10 months into the year, it's like, oh, now he's feuding with McIntyre. Okay, cool. The only issue I have with him getting the belt is, why did it take so damn long? If you're going to end up giving him the belt anyway, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why wait until you do SummerSlam, you do all of September, you damn near do all of October, and give him the belt now? Did you run out of ideas for McIntyre as a champion? Why did you give him the belt at SummerSlam when they first faced each other, when Randy Orton was white hot? He was on top of the world. He was carrying Raw, him and Asuka, every single week. And bang, loses clean to McIntyre. It's like, oh, Randy's going to put McIntyre over for the rest of the year. Great. Then he wins the damn belt a month and a half later.
Yeah. I mean, there's something to good storytelling in that sense, I guess. But, like, I don't know. The second that they needed to start, the Legends attacking Randy Orton thing would have been what we thought was the end of the feud.
What show was that? I'm already forgetting. It was what was the September pay-per-view?
Well, wasn't it? It wasn't SummerSlam. It was. We'll call it Armageddon. I don't know. But
we'll say Armageddon for right now.
But Payback.
Yes.
Maybe. Whatever. We'll call it Pandemic Payback.
Clash of Champions?
Shit, it was Clash of Champions, wasn't it? Yeah, Payback. But no, I mean, I don't know. This whole thing seems kind of weird to me. I mean, you wanna build monumental heat, and I would like to throw a monumental heat situation down, and it's not for Randy Orton. It's cementing the Miz as the greatest heel of all time. And this only works as if, everybody wears their masks and, we're all okay. And WrestleMania is held in Florida like they want.
Mm-hmm.
And the Miz cashes in on Edge at WrestleMania for the WWE Championship.
Oh my God.
That is heel heat right there if I've ever seen. Right, Bill?
Damn right.
But like, oh my gosh, like, I don't know. I don't know if Randy's gonna hold the title for very long. He shouldn't, because there's a guy.
6 months.
There's a guy on Raw that definitely deserves to hold every world title forever, and that is Mr. Bray Wyatt, the Fiend.
They set that up on Raw. They set it up.
Yeah, and you know what I'm a little bit sick and tired of. Okay, so here's the thing. I just said that the Fiend or Bray Wyatt should hold the championship forever. And I do think that he should be world champion again soon.
Yeah.
But when he's not world champion, for the love of God, WWE, there's more to Bray Wyatt than just putting him in world championship matches. If he's not going to be fighting for a title, give him something to do, because he has his segments on SmackDown and stuff like that. And sure, maybe we're not far away from his last world title reign. Don't get me wrong, but it just feels as though unless he's fighting for a world championship, they leave him off of pay-per-views, and it's disappointing. Other than, I mean, the one of the best matches in WrestleMania for this past one was his obscure match with John Cena. Don't get me wrong,
but it
but I just feel like there's so much more to do with Bray Wyatt, the Fiend, and now Alexa Bliss, Twisted Bliss, that you can. I mean, I think that they're going to put him back in the world title picture pretty quickly, especially since Randy Orton burnt down Sister Abigail. But because no, I mean, they have that picture up on Raw.
Yeah,
in the background. But yeah, no, I'm just saying, like, I know that when you have a character like that, like, but like Undertaker could wrestle other wrestlers and have meaningful feuds. It's just like, to me, Hell in a Cell is the perfect place for a Bray Wyatt to be fighting.
Yeah.
That said, I remember the last time he fought in one, it ended in a disqualification.
Not gonna talk about that, man.
I'm surprised that this match didn't end in a DQ or a count out when they were on top of the cell. So let's get back to that matchup. I just wanted to give that little anecdote about Bray Wyatt.
No, you're spitting straight facts.
The match was the slowest of the 3 cell matches. I mean, I got a chance. It did. Yeah. Surprising main event, right?
I thought they should have started with this, man. They should have started with it.
And people would have thought that Bayley and Sasha should have been the main event. Like, or even the storytelling for Roman and Jay to have opened the show. I was like, holy crap.
Hot. Starting that show hot.
Oh, there was no following it up. Still, I think that overall it was probably the best match of the night. Though Sasha and Bayley was great.
1A, 1B, dude.
Yeah. I mean, if that match main evented, here's what I'll say about that. Where I'll put it above it slightly is put both of those matches in the main event. Personally, I think that if Jay Roman ended the show and they had that moment where he was standing with his dad on I think that would have meant more than Sasha celebrating her championship, that she deserved to win. Don't get me wrong. I think that it would have had more of an impact, which is why, like, they had like an end of the show moment between the Wild Samoans and Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
And the emotional baggage of Roman pretending to, Roman can say he's not a heel as much as he wants. The moment that he cries and fakes out Jimmy Uso in order to get Jay to say I quit.
Great finish, dude. It was a great finish.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're doing the hypothetical of putting both in the main event and seeing like the aftermath, the only I'm on the flip side. I think Bayley Sasha would have made a better main event than the other two. Because if you want, they start the show off hot with Jay and Roman, and I think that's the best way to start. You either start with Bayley and Sasha, or you start with Jimmy and Jay, or Jimmy and Roman, or Jay and Roman. Fudge rip, I'm getting my Samoans mixed up. But I think they did a great job starting off with Roman and Jay. Fantastic. It's great. And my only issue with that match is they barely utilized the cell. They just used so it didn't need the Hell in the Cell gimmick. Granted, it's the pay-per-view name. I get it, whatever. But everything else is fantastic. Everything else in between was great. And afterwards, like the whole acknowledging of the father, and it's like, damn, like this is the like we're out here being a family and stuff, and Jay's out here like denying us, bro. That's messed up. I love that. I can't wait to see what happens tonight on SmackDown in regards to what happens next.
Yeah.
But Sasha and Bailey, they had one hell of a Hell in a Cell match. It's what you'd expect out of a Hell in a Cell match. Sasha went into this thing like 0 for 2 or 0 for 3 in Hell in a Cell matches because she lost to like all the L's to Charlotte, all the L's to Becky. Like so she was coming into this thing after months of story with Bailey.
Yeah.
Months of story. Like they were talk about pillars of WWE in the pandemic. Sasha and Bailey were exactly that.
Yeah.
If it wasn't Asuka, if it wasn't Randy, it's freaking Bailey and Sasha together when they were teaming together and now facing off against each other. I think this match that they had a Hell in a Cell rivals their TakeOver Brooklyn match. And that match is one of my favorites of the decade, of the 2010s.
Wow, that is a hot take right there. Should I
Yeah.
play the high points button right there? Or high spots button right there.
I just think Sasha and Bailey have incredible chemistry, obviously, and they have incredible matches. It's hard to pick out a bad match between the two of them. Like you can't go a show without Nick muting his mic. But this to me, this one's up there with their TakeOver Brooklyn, with their TakeOver Respect Iron Woman match.
Yeah.
That match is hard too. And those were years ago. Ago. And now here they are still doing the damn thing. Sasha coming out on top was the best decision. That would have been one hell of a way to end the pay-per-view. With Sasha over Bailey with the belt. Her first SmackDown Women's Championship. That's hard. But to go full circle, it should not have ended with Randy and Drew.
Right.
I know what they're trying to do because they're doing the big spots. Drew getting hit off the cell onto the table and him selling it as if his guts exploded and getting back into the ring, them trading finishers. Like, that's cool and all. But it just ended on a slow note, like you mentioned. The matches were really slow. And I think the high-octane, heavy action match of the 3 Hell in the Cell matches would have been a great way to end the pay-per-view after starting as hot as you did with Jay and Roman. Because those two matches were great for different reasons.
Yeah. I can't deny that at all. I mean,
that's just how I rock. But I totally see your POV ending with Jay and Roman because that was one hell of a match and one hell of a moment afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
Surprised that they showed up too. I'm shocked.
And maybe the reason why they ended with it was, first of all, Randy's 14th title. Let's not forget that.
Ties Triple H, second all time.
I don't know if this is his last world championship. Here's the thing: is that, like, I know that Randy's around the same age as John Cena.
Yeah, pushing 40, if not 40 already.
I mean, Cena's a bigger star outside of the WWE, so that's probably why he'll never break Ric Flair's record. So maybe Cena's got a few more, or maybe Randy's got a few more title reigns left in him. I don't know about that. But I'm curious as to where they go from here, because you have the opportunity for Miz to cash in. You have Drew, who...
I love what you said, though. I love what you said about Edge. Like,
it won't happen, though.
It is to keep the belt on Randy for so long. Because that's 6 months, bro. That's 6 months. And that's a long time. That's how long Drew had it. It felt like Drew had it for a long time. So doing those 6 months to WrestleMania and waiting for Edge to come back, or if you want to get ahead of WrestleMania, do it at the Rumble. If they let fans in at the Rumble, wherever the hell they're at, because we could have dedicated a whole fall to what's after the Thunderdome when they leave the Thunderdome.
Right.
So We'll talk about that once they actually have a location. But until then, the future of WWE live shows outside of Orlando is in question. They may just end up going back to the PC, which is what the popular rumor is right now. But if they do get fans back, I would love what you said about that moment with The Miz and Edge, only if there's fans there, because that's the biggest thing. I mean, we talked about Roman and The Rock last week, right?
Mhm.
About how you can't. The Rock's not coming back to wrestle a match with no fans there. No way in hell he's doing that. At least I don't
Right.
think so.
No, I don't think so either.
So if you're going to have that moment, which is the best way to do this, it's the best way. And I didn't think about it until you just said it. I thought Miz was going to cash in after the Hell in a Cell match. It just made sense. But, WWE, they know what they're doing. And it's The Miz. It's The Miz. So I'm not... last time he had the Money in the Bank, he cashed in on, you know who, Randy Orton.
And, it could be a Survivor Series thing as well.
Mm-hmm. He's facing Roman. Randy Orton's facing Roman Reigns.
My worry about Survivor Series, or my worry about Miz becoming the world champion, is I think he deserves it like nobody's business. Him and Dolph Ziggler, and of course John Morrison too, but I mean, they got to build him back up a little bit now that he's back.
Yeah.
But it would be my dream that Miz loses it to Morrison, but my worry is that the pay-per-view after he wins it, we have a fatal four-way match between Drew, Fiend, and Randy and The Miz, and Fiend wins it by pinning either Drew or Randy, and Miz is back being lost in the shuffle. Yeah. So he could go down in history as a two-time WWE champion, and it's gonna be like Roman coming back, and after the Fiend randomly wins the world championship again from Braun Strowman.
Yeah.
Not complaining, but us knowing exactly where that's going to go is that, well, if the Fiend doesn't take the pin, then he looks strong. So who looks the strong, or who doesn't need to look strong in that situation? It's unfortunately the champ. So Miz loses very easily. I don't want him to. I want what I want. If you're going to cash it in, Miz ain't cashing it on the Fiend. There's no way.
Well,
the only person who would cash it in on the Fiend was clearly that Roman Reigns moment of making Roman look strong. That said,
cashing in on the Fiend, they can send whoever out to try.
Right.
Winning though, making us think that they could win, no way.
No, there's no way, especially if it's Miz. There's no chance in hell that Otis was going to do it. But that's
why the Miz took it off of him.
I want Sasha Bailey level of storytelling with Miz and Morrison if Miz is gonna, if Morrison's eventually gonna go after Miz, because the thing is Morrison's carried companies before. Johnny Impact, Johnny Mundo. I think it's inevitable that maybe they do have a plan for him to win the belt. Do I think in a WrestleMania situation it opens the show? Unfortunately, yes. But that's because Roman Reigns is WWE champion.
Yeah. Or
I don't think that he wins the Royal Rumble. I think you have a better chance. Well, I don't know.
That's a toughie.
Yeah, I can't predict the Royal Rumble at this point, I guess.
I mean, it's yeah, you can't. This Rumble's gonna be weird, and I mean we'll cross that bridge when we get there. And we already know the month of January, we're probably gonna watch every Rumble ever,
yeah,
and have commentaries for every single one of them.
Right now, my pick, if I had to pick one, I'm gonna just throw one out there. Is there's a few options. It's either gonna be Edge, the Fiend, or Dwayne Johnson.
Yo, that Rock pick still blows my mind.
Okay. My pick is still The Rock if the crowds are back.
Oh man. It's crazy that like that's how long we're all about long-term booking, brother. Like
I want it to be Daniel Bryan. If this is going to be his last long-term run with the WWE, I want it to be Daniel Bryan. But I don't think he's going to beat Roman. So that's the issue.
And okay. So I don't want to. Geez, we can talk Rumble all day, but I think
that was my mistake.
No, you're fine. I will give my 2 cents though. My top 3 picks to win. I think they're going to occupy the Fiend for the Rumble. I think if you put the Fiend in it, it's obvious.
Mm-hmm.
At least it's going to be like one of those everyone has to eliminate him spots, you know. If I had to pick 3, Morrison. That's just my inner mark, bro. Morrison,
I want it.
I want it so bad, and especially if Mrs. Champ by then. Especially if that's the case. God bless him. Keith Lee.
Ooh.
Like, remember how when Drew won this past January, it was like it resuscitated his whole main roster career. It's like, yo, like he's not just the Dolph Ziggler henchman anymore. He's Drew McIntyre, this boy back. Like Scottish psychopath. Like this is what I'm on. Keith Lee, I think at that point he's gonna need it. Like need it.
I remember when that happened to Nakamura. Go on.
Yeah. And a third. Oh God. I don't want to say Dwayne. I don't think I'll up Big E. I'll say Big E.
Okay.
They got a lot of love for Big E. That's as of right now.
Yeah, I could see it. As
of right now. But to go full circle on all this crazy stuff, though, another thing that happened around Hell in a Cell time, not really at Hell in a Cell, but like you mentioned, Daniel Bryan. I don't want to harp on this too much because there's still a lot of run left. I don't want to cry about this now. We'll cry about it when he actually departs from being a full-time wrestler. But Daniel Bryan did reveal on Talking Smack last Friday that this will be his last full-time run as a full-time professional wrestler. Nuts. I know I texted you about it. Like, yo, like D-Bry, that's our boy. We love D-Bry over here at Wrestle Real. And now, like, it's his last run. He's back. He showed up on SmackDown. He definitely alluded to it, but now it's confirmed. Now we'll see how this run goes. Facing off against Roman Reigns is inevitable. It may not happen anytime soon, especially around Survivor Series. We already saw the matchups for that. Orton and Reigns. They're already lazily booking Survivor Series, and I'm not excited for it. But I'll bitch about that later. But Daniel Bryan, I would love one more world title run.
Yeah, that'd be great.
But again, everybody has to wear their damn masks because I want the fans there. I want to be there so bad. But screw me. We're still in this rough rider position.
Yeah, Chris and I can't even record the show together because people wear your mask.
I know, I damn. But no, Hell in a Cell overall though, the show, yeah, there were some lulls like Slapjack, and Bobby Lashley. Slapjack tapped out to Bobby Lashley. That sucked. Jeff Hardy and Elias, that disqualification to an ending, that was weird. But I mean, everything else is on the card was all right. Like I rocked with Hell in a Cell as a whole, and I'm looking forward to this upcoming week of stuff, with the exception of past Raw. Let's not start lazily booking Survivor Series. Come on.
One of the reasons why I feel like they're already lazily booking Survivor Series brings us to our number 2.
So Halloween Havoc.
Because there's no NXT. Go on. I just wanted to mention that.
Because there's no NXT, right? Well, Halloween Havoc happened, and we finally got the confirmation that we We are not getting NXT, at least in this iteration of Survivor Series, because after they ran roughshod last year, they can't do it again. And because they won the damn brand supremacy, the best brand is NXT for a good reason.
Yep.
But and to further solidify that, Halloween Havoc showed that NXT fucking rules. That's my one F-bomb for the show. It rules. Like it's so much fun, and it can be so good when it wants to be.
Mm-hmm.
And NXT every single week they bring the heat. So many great talking points from this show. Not only the fact that they did Halloween Havoc, that Shotzi Blackheart was a great choice to run the operation behind Halloween Havoc.
Chris loves his Shotzi.
I love Shotzi Blackheart. She's fantastic. But the matches were good too. Gargano and Priest with the Devil's Playground match. That match was fun.
I know.
Yeah,
I love that match.
It was good, and the fact that they put the belt on Gargano, like that. I'll come back to that in a second. Candice LeRae, Io Shirai, again, like their women's division is the best in professional wrestling, like at least that I'm aware of, unless I gotta go to Japan and watch some Joshi wrestling. As far as the mainstream wrestling promotions, WWE has the best. NXT, if I have to be that specific, has the best women's division by far. AEW, they win the ratings thing every week, with the exception of this one. But they are envious, jealous almost of the fact that NXT rules their women's division.
Yeah.
Rules. And AEW struggles every single week. They're like, oh, geez, we got Full Gear coming up. Who's Hikaru Shida's going to face? Like, who haven't we used in the last couple weeks? Nyla Rose. Okay, yeah, her. Like, it's just that lazy. While we got freaking TakeOver, or we got freaking NXT Halloween Havoc, and they gave away Shirai LeRae on cable or on free TV, and it rules. It freaking rules. On just your Wednesday weekly programming, we're getting kick-ass women's matches that end the pay-per-view. Like, that was the main event of the pay-per-view.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, that happened. We got, like, I forget the proper title of it, but it's like the Halloween, like the House of Horrors freaking match with Cameron Grimes and Dexter Lumis. I'm not a big fan of either one of those guys, but I liked watching this match.
Love me some Dexter Lumis.
Yeah, like it was weird. I dug the freaking Pat McAfee stuff, right? I don't know how you feel about Pat McAfee. This is something we haven't really talked about, Pat McAfee's presence in NXT, at least since he got his face kicked off by Adam Cole a couple months ago. But he's back. He's making his own faction, Oney Lorcan, Danny Burch, and now the fourth member, as we found out, was Pete Dunne. Pete Dunne's in NXT now.
Are you sure that was who it was supposed to be, though? Like, it wasn't.
It was supposed to be Ridge Holland.
Yeah.
Right.
I was
And
gonna say.
my man's knee popped off his body. So now I believe it's his knee. But now here we are with Pete Dunne, which, I mean, I'll take it.
Oh, for sure.
I'll take it.
Give me. You know what? People are gonna be like, give me Adam Cole versus. No. Give me Kyle O'Reilly versus Pete Dunne. That's what I want right now.
And we're gonna get it before, because I think this is where they're going. I think it's obvious because it's 4v4. What are some other 4v4 matches you can do? Oh yeah, War Games. This all leads to War
Pat
Games.
McAfee?
Oh, Pat Mother Trucker McAfee. Like, I don't know, and I'm not a hater. I think I'm a hater of Pat McAfee. Yeah, I think I'm a hater, because you go from being this kicker, right, or this punter in freaking the NFL, you have your own radio show because you're charismatic AF, and then now you show up in NXT, you wrestle Adam Cole at one of their pay-per-views at TakeOver, and
In
then
a good match.
it was solid. It was cool. He worked well enough with Adam Cole. Granted, Adam Cole was selling his face off the whole time, and then now you're doing this 4v4 thing, and it's gonna lead to freaking Survivor or to War Games, and it's gonna rule. It's gonna be awesome. UE versus whatever the hell Pat McAfee's group's called. gonna rock. But out of all that, oh yeah, and Rhea Ripley and Raquel Gonzalez ruled. Another feather in the cap for the NXT women's division.
You mean to
That's a
tell
big
me
event.
you have a meaningful women's division singles match that doesn't end with somebody getting Samoan dropped through an announce table?
Yes, yes, you
Weird.
can have women's matches on weekly TV that don't include the same finish over and over and over again, and then the matches are good and long and worth the time to invest in these characters. But
Well,
out of all that stuff I mentioned, Nick, what did you take away from Halloween Havoc, the NXT one, though?
I agree. Oh, the Yeti was great. Oh, I agree with all of it. I honestly, I agree with your sentiment. Love Johnny Gargano getting his championship back, because here's the thing: is that they put their mid card titles on a pedestal. But I'm going to throw a hot take out there for you right now. I'm not going to hit the button. I was considering.
I'm not.
NXT women's, or don't even the NXT women's division is so good. Like you did with the Cruiserweight Championship, which we forget about that match too.
Oh yeah, that match was
they need Jordan Devlin. Give the women's tag team championships to NXT.
Like straight up.
Just straight up strip them from Shayna Baszler, and Nia Jax, and just do it. Or give them the, I don't know. I know what it's going to lead to. They gotta go Dana Brooke versus and Mandy Rose versus Nia Jax and Shayna blah 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 blah. I want Mandy Rose to be. I want Mandy Rose to be Raw Women's Champion more than anything else, but it's just because I love Mandy Rose. Dana Brooke.
First.
I know. I don't know. I felt like after they gave them the SummerSlam match, and yes, I know the table wouldn't break. Everybody could just shut up about that. I thought that they had some faith in them. But anyways, just give them the women's tag team championship so it could build some prestige, and then put it back on the main roster. Because you clearly, if there's one thing that WWE hates right now, it's men's tag team champions. So
tag teams, period, bro.
So let's just get rid of the NXT, or let's make it the NXT Women's Tag Team Championships. Overall, like the show, Pete Dunne looks like he's in the most incredible shape of his life. Love that,
brother. Did it for him.
And I wonder if maybe will he eventually become. I want to see Finn Balor versus Pete Dunne. That would be a great match. I know. If there's one thing that NXT proved, is that they don't need their world champion to carry a show.
No. Finn Balor wasn't even. I don't remember his name being mentioned the whole show.
So that's my biggest takeaway from it. I thought that they did an okay job of actually doing some Halloween-like things with it, unlike other pay-per-views that they've done in the past, like the Great American Bash and In Your House. But again, with In Your House
set, they had the set.
Well, they did have the set, and you know what? I'll say with In Your House and Great American Bash, I guess, is if you have the sets, then maybe they're doing just one step ahead. But they didn't have any backstage barbecues where a food fight happened, but
sure, yeah.
I don't know. And that's something that I do want to explore with this show. And I would say in about 15 minutes, you'll know another thing that we're going to be doing along with this. But, I want to watch more of these older WCW pay-per-views that they keep recycling, like In Your House, because frankly, I don't know if there was even supposed to be anything special about In Your House other than the fact that it was a WCW pay-per-view.
Well, it was a WWF pay-per-view.
It was WWF. What am I thinking?
But it still gives off that nostalgia, like the same bit as a Halloween Havoc, or Starrcade or something like that.
But it's I know Starrcade was WCW's WrestleMania.
Big deal, yeah.
Halloween Havoc was Halloween Havoc. It was their Survivor Series. because of the fact, although War Games, I guess, with War Games, they do the War Games match. With Halloween Havoc, they have it really focus on the Halloween side of things and do some gimmicky stuff because that's what Vince Russo would have wanted.
Bro.
Well, let me tell you, bro. But we're gonna put a bunch of stuff inside of crates, and we're gonna have them go and fight for things. And in one of the boxes, bro, there's gonna be a picture of Jeff Jarrett.
Oh my god!
That's a picture of Booker T doing a Jim Halpert looking into the camera with a picture of Jeff Jarrett in his hands. It's still my favorite thing of all time.
I can't.
I want a picture of that.
I can't believe you busted out a Vince Russo impression on a Wrestle reel for the first time.
Oh, bro. Beautiful! I love. Vince Russo is more or less like the George Lucas of wrestling, where he just throws everything at the wall and hopes that it sticks, and then just keeps adding on to the bullshit. Well, let me tell you something, bro. David Arquette was not my idea. But like, I don't know. I look forward to more of these NXT pay-per-views eventually. Oh, yeah. Stop having Candice LeRae fight for women's championships matches or fight for the women's championship match now. Give Io Shirai, Ember Moon like we all want. Just because I think Candice LeRae has run her course if she's not going to win the title. It's been, 3 pay-per-views now that she's fought for the title. There's other... That's the only gripe that I would have. And somebody that I work with and I were talking about that, because he hates that Candice LeRae and Johnny Gargano are still fighting for the championship. Gargano finally won it though, so I'm happy about that. But I do agree with him in the sense that maybe like Candice LeRae, if she's not going to win the title, has run its course a bit.
I'm in the same wavelength, or I'm rocking with you guys in the same wavelength. I thought LeRae was going to win 100%. The second I saw Gargano beat Damian Priest, which I thought Damian Priest was going to be like the guy, like carrying that mid-card belt going forward, because that's what they definitely showed us. They teased us when they chose Priest to be their next champion. I'm like, oh, yeah, okay, cool. Punisher Martinez, word, and he's cool. Like, I like Damian Priest a lot. Like, he came up in that wave with like Cameron Grimes, and he just like shot way past Cameron Grimes, even though Grimes had that cool ass cinematic match, which I did say they should do cinematic matches, and that's more. Let NXT do all the cool stuff from this point forward, okay, WWE? Let NXT do it. But when Gargano beat Priest in the gimmick match for the North American Championship, not only did I think, he's held this belt for a second time. He's the first person to do that. 2-time North American champion. And I'm like LeRae's totally going to beat Io Shirai.
Yeah.
And I thought no one's going to be upset if that happened, because Candice LeRae and Johnny Gargano have been pillars in their respective divisions so far. And granted, Gargano's been in NXT significantly longer than LeRae has. Mm-hmm. And after them not getting drafted like how we thought they would,
really though,
the main roster, I'm like, okay, like now you have to do something with them. You gave Gargano the belt, great. Why didn't you give LeRae the belt? I think they're going to go one last time with Shirai and LeRae.
Really?
Yes. And if they don't give the belt to LeRae, then I don't know what the hell else you can do with LeRae, if it's not tag team belts, like how you mentioned. Like, what the hell else can you do? Main roster without Johnny? No way. No way.
No.
Like, you're putting your, and I understand Io Shirai's a kick-ass champ. She's fantastic. We love Io Shirai here at Wrestle Real.
That's right.
But like, the women's division is going to reach the point like how like it's going to reach that overcrowded nature that WWE already has. There's too many people. You brought Ember Moon back. Toni Storm's in the mix now. You can't forget about that. So we have too many women now and only one belt to share. Let's either introduce a new belt for women. What would you call it? I have no idea.
The Divas Championship.
The NXT Divas Championship. Oh God, that might be problematic.
Chelsea Green going to the main roster made sense, and then it never happened.
Yeah,
and that would have kind of obviously filtered out one person. But let's not forget that Dakota Kai exists as well. It's like
she's been having a kick-ass year. And if freaking what's her name? If why am I forgetting her name? Oh my God, the girl with the Captain Marvel gear. I'm blanking on her name. She just tore her ACL again. What's her name?
Brie Larson?
Okay. She was. She did the stuff with Dakota Kai. Oh my God.
Raquel Gonzalez?
No. Oh Jesus! I gotta find my phone. I have to look this up because it's gonna eat me alive. WWE. This is where the cut goes in the edit.
Charlotte?
No. Oh my God.
No, we're gonna play a game here, everybody. Wrestle Real fans. We're not cutting this out. We're gonna play the game. Can you guess who Chris is talking about? Because I sure as hell can.
I know the wrestling fans that they're gonna kill me. Tegan Knox. Tegan Knox. If she didn't tear her ACL, she'd be in this shit too. So like that took so goddamn long, and my laptop's gonna die. But there's so much. There's so many women in that division, and they need more to fight for. And if one belt is going to cut it, at least put them in meaningful feuds. That's what they're doing right now with Raquel Gonzalez and Rhea Ripley. That's cool, and they're having great matches because of it. Same thing with Dakota Kai and Ember Moon. So, but there has to be a point where you're going to have all these women. There's one main champ, and let's figure out how they're going to do that per se. But either way, Halloween Havoc, the NXT one though, 2020. Rules. And by the way, this damn near should be a yearly thing. They should rock this gimmick every year, at least going forward. I know with some names they can't do I know AEW did Bash the Beach because Cody owned, or the Rose family or the Runnels own the name Bash the Beach, so they can't run that. But let's do NXT Starrcade at some point. I think that'd be really fun.
That would be pretty cool.
That being said. We have one more thing to talk about, but it just broke like as of this recording. So let's just go right to it. Number 3, baby.
Oh, sorry. I was on Twitter during that moment. This is a non-wrestling thing, but like Kanye West gave Kim Kardashian the gift of her a hologram of her dead father. It was weird. All right.
It's something for sure. But no, the third thing we're going to talk about on the show actually broke not too long ago as of this recording, and it involves Vince McMahon. We talk about Vince all the time. Vince is like the crux of WWE. He is the reason why wrestling's so big in America. Yeah, I'll say that in confidence. He changed the whole wrestling industry, whether you like him or not. And apparently we're going to see that. We're going to see that in documentary form on Netflix. And Nick, we didn't really get to talk about this prior to the show, so I'm curious into your thoughts. But before we get to that, just to name a couple things, WWE is no stranger to Netflix. They've collaborated on a few other projects, all fictional, of course, so nothing documentary-esque. B, I've been asking for more original content. I thought this would go to like the network or something, like what they did with The Undertaker.
Yeah, I kind of thought so too.
And I bet we'll get into that a little bit more. But in 3, it's like this could be like multi-million dollars. This could be a whole ass production. I wonder what they're going to cover, how big this is going to be. They've been throwing the word groundbreaking around a lot in regards to WWE and Netflix doing this Vince McMahon documentary, because Vince has notoriously not liked him being on camera, at least as of late, when he doesn't have to be. So, Nick, when you heard the news of a Vince McMahon docu-series at Netflix, what did you think?
Give me a fucking mic!
You canceled the Big Show for this shit? Sorry. I gotta. Somebody needs to put a lock on those. Anyways, if it's gonna be groundbreaking, then I'll watch it. I don't know. Netflix is no stranger to good documentaries, and I mean, if another pandemic happens, then we're not going to be talking about Tiger King. We're going to be talking about Vincent Kennedy McMahon. I'm beginning to get to the point where I'm almost more interested in seeing a biopic than I am in a documentary series, but I think that it'll be fine. I don't know who you would get to play in maybe we should do a McMahon family biopic casting soon.
Yo, a Wrestle real cast.
There you go.
Of biopic,
I don't entirely. Okay, if I'm going to be honest with you, be real with the big fans who have made it this far out there, I don't entirely have much of an opinion on this. And the reason being is I almost feel like I know everything about Vince McMahon. I don't feel like this documentary, because there's so many WWE documentaries out there. And sure, maybe there's more to the man than we're thinking, but like I don't know. I feel like this is going to be a lot of what I've already heard. I think that if anything, I want to hear the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth about certain wrestler, and I don't care who it is, just like maybe certain wrestlers that you wouldn't expect have a story about Vince McMahon. You know, that would be what would be intriguing to me. Like if like, you know, I want to know how certain wrestlers feel about their spot on the card, and if they'd speak candidly about something like that. You know, Kofi Kingston going, why did it take this long for me to become world champion when I've literally done everything that you've ever asked me to do? Certain people, you know, it has nothing to do with it. It's almost going to seem like I was trying to, you know, go a certain way with that, but I don't even mean that. Like, Big Show, why you make me turn face and heel over and over again? There are certain wrestlers that I think are going to have a lot of stories, you know. I want to know, I guess, Vince McMahon's thinking bringing a Hulk Hogan back finally after all this time. Now I know that the money was there for something like that to happen. If they're going to go the route of certain things like, hey, this is what WWE is going to be like once my kids take it over type route with it as well. You know, maybe we actually can get an answer as to when Vince is finally going to hang it up. And I know it's when he's, I hate to be like dead, but like, you know what I mean? Like that dude's never going to give up WWE. You know, I just think that there are, if I knew more about it, like I'm saying, I want to know more about like the darker side of things, and I don't know if that's the route that they're going to go. I don't know if I don't know what's going to happen with this documentary, I guess is all I'm trying to say. I just feel like I know enough about Vince McMahon that I don't need to watch it, if that makes any sense.
No, like that's what I was thinking about prior, like, because you hear like all these stories, especially now, like with podcasts, every wrestler has a podcast. Mm-hmm. So you're gonna hear these stories about Vince, or hear stories about WWE in the '90s, or the WWF, or all these other bigger portions of Montreal Screwjob and all this stuff.
Yeah.
But I would be super intrigued at the idea of this, because I mean, not only is it going to be one at nothing, they're going to throw a bunch of money at this documentary, of course. It's going to introduce, it's going to be like the behind the curtain, the official behind the curtain type of wrestling program that I think the average fan needs to see. Because, or not I shouldn't even say average fan, the average person, that's naive to pro wrestling should see. Because everyone, if you say Vince McMahon, it's like, oh, like they're probably going to think wrestling. They probably know who that is. He's a literal $1 billion man, so it's hard to not know who he is. I like what you said. I think we're going to get a lot of the wrestlers speaking candidly about Vince. And I hope even more so, Vince speaking candidly about the things that have happened in the wrestling industry that we haven't necessarily gotten his 2 cents from. We heard him talk about the screw job. We heard him talk about certain wrestlers and their POV. Granted, he's only done one podcast on record. One. And that was Stone Cold, but that was through the network still. It went through that WWE filter.
Yeah.
So now it's at Netflix, and Bill Simmons is co-producing this. He did the Andre the Giant documentary for HBO, and that was like super, like it went in depth on Andre and his life and what he was going through as a person, how tough it was for him to be a wrestler at points. But I'm really interested in this. Yeah, you already know what's coming. You got to touch on his relationship with his father, with Vincent J. McMahon, his kids, with Vince, like how Shane and Stephanie's lives have changed because of the WWF, WWE, Triple H. You got to talk about the shit with WCW. I would love to know Vince's thoughts on other wrestling promotions, because he knows.
Yeah.
Like New Japan, Ring of Honor, Impact,
AEW.
Like
jinx.
he knows, right? So this is definitely going to be a story of his life, starting from the beginning all the way to now, whenever now is when it releases. But I want like the gritty shit, like especially coming from other POVs. I want to know the dirty stuff with Bret Hart, with Owen Hart, how if Vince still thinks about Owen to this day, and how they just walked right by it. Owen died in the ring, and they did not skip a week. When Eddie died, when Chris Benoit died, I want to know about like the conversations him and Bret Hart had, the conversations, the CM Punk stuff. I want to know like the nitty gritty. What Cesaro thought of Vince McMahon calling him out on WWE programming.
Yeah.
Straight up. Like that's the shit I want to know from Vince's perspective and from other people's perspective.
Well, to that point, I also would like to know because you brought up the Chris Benoit thing, and obviously it's a touchy subject. It makes me feel weird to talk about it, because I remember the exact day that it happened. I didn't hear about it on the news because I was too naive at the time. I didn't really know much about like watching the news and stuff like that. I liked wrestling, but my parents didn't necessarily want me to, per se. It wasn't that they were like against it. It was just kind of like, why don't waste your time with that? And I tuned into Raw, a random night that I could catch Raw, and it was clearly before they knew more about what was going on. And the entire Raw was in an empty arena and was a Chris Benoit tribute show. The same day that it happened.
Mm-hmm.
And ever since then, it has never happened like that the same way. Because trust me, between that time, last year we had enough death and celebrities to cover an entire tribute show for stuff like that, but they do not do that anymore because, of the ramifications. If they don't know what's going on, I wonder how things felt that they more or less had a tribute show for what was the situation that was in. And you can look it up if you don't know what it is. We don't need to talk about it here.
Yeah, no.
It's already enough that a picture of him can get past the WWE Thunderdome and you pop up on the screen. But it's like, it was not creepy, but it was just chilling. Turning on Raw, having the in memoriam picture show up, and then have Vince McMahon go, "There's no show. Today is all about Chris Benoit," because that was really weird, especially now being a 24-year-old thinking about the fact that they more or less had a glorified in memoriam show for a person who did what he did. Take it for granted. The reasons for it, we don't know. You know, Chris Benoit had weird head problems, but like, it's just like, you know, how Piper dies. We don't have an entire tribute show for a wrestler who definitely had more of an impact on the business as a whole. And it's probably for that reason that it looks really bad on their end. I mean, that's why I'm sure that like, or let's take a wrestler like my favorite Italian American wrestler of all time, Muhammad Hassan, and the situation that was brought up from SmackDown in that sense. Will we ever hear about what was going on when, you know, that's an interview that I want. A wrestler who is on top of the world, who has this incredibly interesting character, and Vince, I could only imagine, has to approve this stuff, goes, this isn't enough. Let's bring in the terrorists. And ruins what was an interesting character. There is, they brought that type of a character, and I've brought it up on here before, I think. Jinder Mahal became what Muhammad Hassan should have been. And then eventually they ruined that again, where they made him be like diversity and then had him be racist against Shinsuke Nakamura. But where they took Muhammad Hassan and was like diversity, and, you know, I'm an Arabic American after 9/11. I shouldn't be being treated that way. You know, it does bring in America heat, which I don't know if a gimmick like that would even work in today's society.
No.
It doesn't. But the fact that they had to go and take that character and then go terrorist and then have the London bombings happen the same day that episode aired, pre-taped, by the way, there's a lot of intrigue that I have with, like, you know, you brought up Owen dying in the ring. Eddie, there's a lot of intrigue that I have for, you know, the whole Eddie Guerrero thing and how he felt. Basically, I want to know how Rey Mysterio felt basically coming Eddie in that situation where everything, his entire push was based around Eddie Guerrero's death, which is weird. I don't think that Rey doesn't deserve that, but it's just like, you know, if I'm going to be basically at the end of the day, if I'm going to be watching a documentary about Vince McMahon, I need to get into the psyche of why he was okay with certain things happening with his company and why certain things just got brushed under the rug like that.
And I hope that's what this series becomes. I don't want it to be like this is what happened and it's people talking about it and that's it. Like, no,
yeah.
I really don't want this to become or go to the WWE filter where it's like, yo, like, yeah, let's talk about Eddie Guerrero, right? So Eddie Guerrero passes away, and then we're gonna push the friend who also happens to be Latino, and puts him in that same position. Granted, like you said, Ray deserved every single bit of it, especially with his runs. With his run in WWE and even WCW prior. But I want to know these things from Vince's mouth. I want to know his point of view. Like, if this is about Vince, okay, if this is strictly about Vince and not WWE, even though it's hard to not talk about one without talking about the other.
Yeah.
And their respective stories, because they go hand in hand. But if this is Vince's story, I want this to be, okay, let's go through WWE's history or Vince's history. Then once we get to WWF, WWE, whatever the hell, we start talking about that. And I want Vince. I want this to be like the Last Ride. I think that's what it's called.
Yeah.
The Undertaker documentary series on the network. That's awesome. It's the Undertaker candidly talking about what was going on in his career. Yes. I want this to be like The Last Dance. It's Michael Jordan candidly talking about him being put in provocative in these situations. They mentioned Michael Jordan's father passing away. They mentioned all his gambling issues. They mentioned all the crazy stuff that Michael Jordan's been all the negative stuff he's been synonymous with throughout his career. I want that, but for Vince, but also Vince McMahon sitting in a chair, talking about these things, talking about the day Eddie passed, talking about the day Chris Benoit passed, talking about Owen, talking about the screw job. As candid as I want his reasoning. Granted, he's not going to give it to us, but like his POV, his POV on the product and how the product has evolved in the last 20 years. Like that type of stuff. Yeah, you can have your takers do the interviews, your Stone Colds, those are inevitable. Ric Flair, Hulk Hogan, The Rock, Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, Triple H, all those people. Yeah, great. And some newer wrestlers. But this should be Vince's story, or the WWE story and Vince McMahon's story told through Vince McMahon's mouth. Like, yes, you're showing us everything, but I want Vince to tell me everything. I want him to be honest, candid. Like, I want to know the process in regards to the name change from the F to the E. I know what the real life thing was. I want to know how he felt about it. Did it hinder the product in his eyes? Having to go from F to E, like, or the changes in eras, what he thought of WCW, what he thought of ECW, the revival or the old one. I want to know what's up. Like, I want to know WWE's history through Vince McMahon's eyes, because this is all him. This is all his. This whole world that we're living in, all those pictures you got in the back, right behind you, those are products of Vince McMahon. And I want CM Punk in this thing. I want him to talk about like his relationship with Punk and how like, because CM Punk's case, it was almost unprecedented. A guy walking out and not coming back. Stone Cold Steve Austin did it, but he came back like a year later. Punk, it's been what, 6 years, 7 years, and he has no inclination of going back. The closest thing we got was Fox. I want to know all this shit through Vince's eyes. I want him to be as candid as possible. Are we gonna get it? Probably not.
No, but I do
that's
want
what I would like it to be. That's what I want it to be so bad. A combination of The Last Dance and The Last Ride, the two of them. I want it to be The Last Dance for pro wrestling and about Vince.
And the Titus O'Neil situation. Yeah, I agree. Yes.
All that. Like, freaking, like you mentioned, Kofi. Like, as much as you don't want to make it a black thing, like, it's if you can go over a decade without having without having an African American as your world champion.
Yeah.
You're counting The Rock, right? I don't count The Rock.
No.
So you're like Booker T, Ron Simmons. How many world champions can you go through?
Yeah.
And not one of them is a person of color, with the exception of like Rey Mysterio or Eddie Guerrero.
Right. And it's there's got to be. That's my big thing about this. Is I want to feel uncomfortable at times watching this.
Yeah, like you said, we don't want it to be a regurgitation of the screw job, like yeah, we know about that, but what don't we know? I want to hear it through Vince's mouth. I want to know what he thinks of Chris Jericho going to AEW and AEW starting up, right? And the rise of independent wrestling. Does Vince watch independent wrestling? Does he know what Ring of Honor is? Like, I want to know these things. I want to know what makes talent like good in his eyes. What's that good shit? I want to know his definition of good shit. Like, in his words, what does that mean?
That's good shit right there.
That's good shit. Like, I want to know. Like, I want this to be Vince McMahon being an open book. And who even knows? He may have zero involvement in this thing. It may just be Vince McMahon's story told through other people's mouths and eyes.
Mm-hmm.
But I want this to be the last dance with Vince McMahon.
Yeah.
That's ultimately what it is. Not saying it's him telling us all like, I'm done. I'm hanging up the boots, hanging up the headphones in 2022 or whatever the hell.
Nuts right there.
It would be crazy. Like how if it ended how Taker's thing ended, like yeah, I think I'm retired. I think I can say that in confidence. Like if that's how Vince's shit ends, okay, that'll rock
Mhm.
people's world. But this should be if you're throwing all this money at it, it should be this whole ass thing.
Yeah,
Like it should and have Vince. I want to hear all these crazy things through Vince's mouth.
I yeah, I can't deny it.
Like it sounds perfect in theory,
In theory.
but if we would not be fans of professional wrestling without us thinking about what Vince would do and
What would
what's best
Vince
for business.
Kennedy McMahon? That's good shit right there, do.
And we're gonna find out whenever this happens. But I mean, I think let's chat about our high spot for the week before.
Oh my god, I totally interrupted you. I am so
You're
sorry.
fine. You're fine. This week's high spot, or in this case, lack thereof high spot, is because we are doing something fun again this week because we were requested on our Facebook page at Who Are They Real Entertainment on Facebook. Someone reached out to us. We don't want to mispronounce your name, but Nick O. Uh, shout out to you for hitting us up on Facebook.
And if you want to
but
hit any of us up, it's up there and here, just so you know.
Yes. So go ahead and follow us or send us a message about future things you would like to see us cover.
Right.
Because what Nick did, Nick messaged us on Facebook and he kindly asked that we talked about the May 17th episode of Monday Night Raw from 1993, which, from my understanding, is the first episode of Raw.
I think, yes. Yokozuna versus Kamala. What a match.
If it's not the first episode of Raw, it's an early episode of WWE weekly programming. Something that I haven't seen too much of. Nick, I don't know if you've seen too much of 90s Raw at all. With the exception of the Stone Cold Rock shit. We've all seen that stuff.
Yeah.
But the main thing Nick wanted us to watch this show for was for the introduction of the 1-2-3 Kid versus Razor Ramon. So that's what we'll be doing for our high spot this week, similar to what we did 2 weeks ago with Halloween Havoc 1995. We're going to be doing that again this time for May 17th, 1993's episode of Monday Night Raw. And Nick, I think I can speak for the both of us that, oh my God, we're so grateful that it's only an hour long, if that. Because wrestling has evolved so much, and to the point where 20 odd years later, Raw is 3 times as long as it was in 1993.
Yeah, no denying that. No denying that.
So I'm pretty jazzed about this high spot, this commentary for the week. You can catch that on all of our streaming platforms. Just Who Are They? Real Entertainment, Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, all that jazz. Just type in Who Are They? Real REEL Entertainment. You'll find that commentary alongside all of our other audio shows.
Right, I was gonna say we'll have it in the link in the bio as well.
Exactly. Like the audio version of this is on there. Really Scared, Real Talk, Spin from the Real. All the little things that we do. All the Halloween Havoc one that we did for 1995 Halloween Havoc. But
With the
just
Eddie.
know for a fact, we will be doing a lot of these going forward. We just talked about the Rumble not too long ago. We're going to be doing a lot of the Rumbles because that's Nick and I's favorite pay-per-view, favorite match type.
That's right.
As far as saying that.
Talked about No Way Out. We talked about...
Yeah, I'm going to do a No Way Out pay-per-view. We may just do these for fun.
They're fun for me.
Yeah, if you're an option just coincides with what we want to do over here on the show, then awesome. But if not, if you want us to watch, I don't know. At least what I want to do. I think I mentioned this before the show started. I want to do WWE Fatal 4-Way.
Yeah.
The one show where all the matches were Fatal 4-Ways, at least I think.
Yes. No, I definitely want to do that too.
Like that.
Legends House. I'm just kidding.
Gotta watch Legends House at some point. But until then, shout out to Nick on Facebook. Thank you so much, Nick. If you have another show, Nick, please let us know. We'll happily do it because we love doing our commentaries over here. But Who Are They? Real Entertainment, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and so many more. Just type in Who Are They? Real Entertainment.
That's right. That's right.
But Nick, before we wrap the show, is there anything that we missed that you would like to talk about?
I think we covered everything in at least my perspective of things. You know, hopefully our retribution meter will be 1 in 4 instead of 0 and 5 following this upcoming week. But we will keep you in the loop when it comes to all things retribution. I feel like I should get like the first retribution win. I should get like whoever gets the pinfall tattooed on my ass or something like that at this rate. And I can say with confidence, I will never get that tattoo. Just kidding. Then they'll be like on a hot streak of winning forever. But no, unless you got anything, my friend, I think we're good.
No, but I think the one thing we can agree on is that we'll stop talking about retribution when they win a match. That's when we'll take a break from chatting about retribution.
Yeah, right.
But until then, like we said, go ahead and follow us on all the social medias. They're scrolling down at the bottom. They're on top. If you're an audio listener, which if you are, thank you. Check the description of that for those social medias. If not, they should be in the description because we have a ton and they're all different. And we have a ton. And follow Who Are They Real Entertainment on all the social medias as well.
That's right.
Because like we do a bunch of crazy stuff on Facebook especially, and we live stream our shows on Facebook and Twitter. So go ahead and check those out as well. But for Nick Mulbach, I'm Chris Anthony Lopez. We are the kids at heart, and that was another episode of Wrestle Reel. We'll see you guys next time.
And that's the bottom line, 'cause Stone Cold said so.